And let's get quiet.
Okay. Hi DevClub, I'm Ilja. I'm here again. And today is a very interesting topic. It's a personal topic for me because I was burned out and it changed my entire life, to be honest. And I'm happy that it changed it the right way. And today I would like to share what we can do better. We as individuals who work in IT, I think most of us work in IT. We as leaders who are working in IT as well. And we as people all together. I want to relate to a previous speaker about personal experience. Meanwhile, you can access the presentation by scanning the QR code. But my story does not deserve even a slide here today because I don't want to speak a lot about that. Nevertheless, if there is one thing that I learned about it and something that changed my life was a mindset shift. And the crucial point there was to understand one thing. The first thing I understood about myself, I was afraid of too many things that actually never happened in my life. The second thing I understood, I was a people pleaser. It's a keyword these days. And the third thing that I was shocked to understand, that people pleasing is actually a manipulative tactics. So I wasn't a nice guy. And this came through a few years, and this is something that I'm happy to own today. But shifting from that perspective of being someone who was afraid of saying no, of refusing, of having no limits and boundaries, changed the way I treat other people. And I'm not allowing myself to abuse them, to abuse their weak points, which are pretty relevant. And this is something that is very important to share today for me, that as soon as we step up, as soon as we attach leader to ourselves, as soon as we step into leadership position, we must remember that we take responsibility for people who report to us. I will relate to this even in more details a bit later. But comparing to previous speaker, the problem is not just me or you. Because the problem can exist only in a workplace. And there is a very well and often repeated saying, culture eats strategy for breakfast. What does it mean? It means that if we cultivate the wrong culture, no matter what are our plans, no matter what we try to build, no matter how well we pick tools for the things we are building, we will most probably fail. And we fail at the most painful point, because this is the point that stacks over time. When people are burning out, when entire teams are burning out, it's step-by-step progression. It's not like, oh, server is down and everyone is alerted, everyone is awake, everyone knows that, okay, we need to wake up and do something at 3 a.m. When people are burning out, it happens silently, and sometimes it's misleading. The cost, these numbers, comes from my research. I was not able to validate them, but this is something to relate to. This is the amount of money and amount of people that are affected by problem of burning out. So this is not a problem of just a bunch of people. This is not a problem of few people or few teams. This is a common problem. And I'm glad that in 2019 it became a medical diagnosis. And now 7 years later, we're speaking here in the DevClub community, and there are much more people who are speaking about this and investigating this in a more professional manner. This is a very well-known meme, right? This is fine. And this was about me. And this is exactly what I imagine when I hear or see people going above and beyond their possibilities, when people are exhausted, when people have no way to perform well, but they are still trying because there is nobody else to help them, because there is nobody else behind them, there is no process they can believe in. And there is no process that can save them from burning out, because they have to solve this problem now. And that is a very common case how to burn out, solving all problems now. Speaking about the problems, there is one more thing that I want to share. I was an overperformer back those days, and I'm still performing well at my role. But back then, I was believing in a myth. This was something that required another change. I was believing there is a point in life, in my life, where I have no problems. So all problems are sorted and solved. Right? And I was aiming for that. I knew that, okay, I will solve today this one more extra problem, so I have less problems tomorrow, and then finally I get to the most important problem, then I solve it, and boom, next Monday I'm happy. This is not what life is about. Life will always have problems. We need to tolerate them, we need to use it to our advantage. This was another mind shift, and this is another insight I'm happy to share today. Problems is our fuel, especially for us, software developers, and everyone is in IT. And even AI is not the biggest problem these days, but there always will be a problem to solve. Learn how to live with that. Learn teach your nervous system to tolerate it well. Explain, structure, communicate. The worst problem is the one that is not acknowledged and the one that is not communicated. Then it sits in one people's head, and most probably this is the wrong person if we are speaking about the dev teams, about IT teams. This is probably sitting in the wrong head. It's not the manager who has capacity and permissions and authority to act. It's not the big boss who can decide on budget. Probably it's developer or DevOps who is concerned with the way tokens are stored, potentially exposed, and they need to spend the extra night to move them somewhere else and store it more securely. Okay, let's speak about the systems. The problem happens when system has a mismatch. We are all different, but when we come to work, we actually need to somehow sync, take ownership for some tasks, for some job done, and we have to deliver together as a team. This requires us to reduce the amount of autonomy and exclusivity of each of us, personality, and do something that we should do. And this is one of the problems, because whatever you like to do, reading books, playing video games, cycling, whatever, watching TV, in theory, if you have enough food, if you are comfy, warm, and safe, you can do what you love endlessly. You will get bored, but you won't burn out if this is meaningful for you. And this is one of the things, but it starts somewhere else. It starts with the workload, something that we already heard today. When we are overworking and we do not have time to recover, we may even miss some time to take care of ourselves, to move. Our bodies are meant to move. And when we work too much, well, we need to prepare food, we need to take care of clothes, houses, homes, spouses, etc., etc. We don't have time for ourselves. That's the problem. When workload is too big, we cannot take care of ourselves, we cannot take this space. And this is the part of the culture. This is why I mentioned culture earlier. Like, we've been just discussing staying here. But there are bad people who just close their laptop and go away. But there are so much things to do. Why I need to cover all that thing? Usually there is a person. Sometimes if you're lucky there are two such type of guys in a team. Maybe it's a bigger team. But usually it's not an entire team. Someone is compensating. So compensating someone's workload is the first step to the burnout. Control. We often hear about teams taking ownership. But whose team takes real ownership? I mean, who's deciding on budgets? Who's deciding on deadlines? I haven't experienced such a team in my life. We have something to say, we can contribute, but we do not actually decide. And this is normal, because someone is responsible for distributing money, someone else is responsible for something else, like distributing, even space in your office. That's fine. But control is necessary as a feeling. It doesn't mean that everyone should share the control and outputs, because if project fails, well, I don't think developers should pay for the failure. I think innovation would stop at that point. But nevertheless, people have to preserve control and autonomy of their own lives. Where are you going? What are you doing? How to do that? Well, give a choice. You have a backlog queue. Let people decide what specific project they want to work with. There are multiple projects running. This isn't solving the problem, but it helps to let people know they can say, they can decide, they can control what they do and how they do that. The reward. Probably the most painful part, especially for those who are overcommitting and overachieving. Because there is a culture, not a culture, but sometimes there are situations that people nowadays especially are talking very often about silent promotions. Has anyone experienced that? Do you know what it means? So basically, yeah, different answers. So basically, you had a team lead, you've been senior developer, you had a team lead in your team, now team lead left, and someone must distribute tasks among the team, and it's you now. Just please start doing this next week, starting from next sprint. We have sprint planning on Tuesday, so it's on you. So that's the silent promotion, actually. It doesn't mean that's a bad thing. But for me, what I learned from many experiences of such a, let's say, behavior or experience in my life, that it should have a timeline. I'm fine to do this, but I want to know how long and what happens next. Are we speaking about promotion? Or are we speaking about filling this gap for a while, for some other benefits that I could grab? What is the deal? Because when it happens in silence, well, you're paid the same, you do more. At the end of the, not a day, maybe even not a week, but at the end of the quarter, you ask yourself, why am I doing this? That's the problem. Community. how supported I feel. Do I feel alone with my problems? With problems I have to solve. Yes, I'm paid to solve these problems. But how do I feel about that? Are we solving them together and I'm leading it? Or I'm specifically committing to a specific part of the solution? Or I'm just pretending we are a team and nobody cares about what I do. Nobody is there to lend me a hand. Nobody is there to cheer me up. When I'm feeling bad about that, when self-doubt hits, that's common, or imposter syndrome, wherever you pick it. But the problem is, well, sometimes we might feel alone. And being alone here does not mean sitting alone without people around you. Being alone means there is no one else to talk about things that matters. And even then, if you are hurt, it might be a lonely story. Because when you say multiple times something, and it does not affect your reality, what was the reason? There is no point in that. Fairness, somehow related to quiet promotion. So, you started to lead the sprint plannings, right, distributing the tasks, blah, blah, blah. And then in a month, the company figures out that, okay, we will hire a new team lead. And you're actually happy because you actually enjoy doing that, and you kind of suppose that you might be a good fit. And then they hire someone else for a completely different salary. And you, well, it just happened that way. This is something that is treated unfair. Because someone who tried to do, first of all, people, or person deserves feedback. That's the first thing. And second thing, well, if someone is going above and beyond, or at least doing their best, probably they deserve a reward. I'm not saying about the money, not only about the money. Probably there are some other systems, frameworks, how to deal with that. And last but not least, the values. What are we doing? Why are we doing this? This could be anything. You believe in clean code, you believe in systems that are built in a certain way, in a good architecture, etc. You're cultivating this, but then someone comes and say, well, you know, but we actually need to launch it today. Okay, I get it, you can't make it today, but please do this tomorrow. And you're like, well, we barely discussed this feature, what exactly do you want? And this happens again and again and again. You're compromising on your values. Of course, code, or clean code, is a very discussable thing, but this is a great example. You care about building things the right way. It must be secure, it must be testable, it must be reliable. You are willing to take accountability and responsibility for what you have done. But you don't have possibility to do that. And this is not just about autonomy, it's about your values. This resonates a lot with me personally. Because being a perfectionist is a wrong thing, I learned it the hard way, but still it's important for me either to deliver or understand that, well, sorry, that's not my type of the job, of the project, I won't be able to help that. But honesty is among the values, that if someone is compromising this or asking me to compromise my honesty as a value, well, it destroys. It destroys people. A bit different take on performance. About overperformers, high performers. 78% of people, this probably comes from US statistics, this people were doing the extra work, going the extra mile, and they were rewarded with what? Oh, you know what? You did great last sprint, you delivered that feature that was on fire and it was failing. Team failed to fix it for 3 months in a row, and you did that. You know what? After you are done with your current task, could you bring 2 more tasks from your colleagues and solve that problem as well? There is another nasty bug, please fix it. And this is something that happens very often. This is something that is slipping through our minds as a leaders. I'm speaking now from the leadership perspective. We tend to rely on people that proved they are able to deliver. And we should rely on them. But we have to keep ourselves accountable for what we ask them to do. Because if we add something on top, we have to reduce. I will relate to this in a while. Another thing that might help us to understand this problem as a leaders, I don't like the term manager, so I'm referring to leadership and leaders. There are so many cases when people are masking and hiding their burnout behind engagement. Someone started to talk, someone started to interact more suddenly. Well, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm saying this might be an indicator. Maybe someone is trying to hide something, especially if that person is an overperformer or high performer. Someone was happy to do extra work silently, like, okay, give it to me, I'll fix that. And now suddenly this is the most noisy, or the loudest person in the meetings. Probably this is going the wrong way. And there are some dysfunctional patterns in leadership that we must be aware of. Short tanks, when team members becomes competitors. Of course, competition is something that is a part of us. We want to be better than others. And this is a very deep motivation. But when this is the culture, and this is the basic value we're building a team around, we are creating rivals, not colleagues. And this will lead people to go above and beyond to be better than my colleague, but it won't lead to long-term success. This will lead to short-term dysfunction where people will act actually weirdly, probably even against team goals and against team needs to prove that I'm better than him. Letting loose, yeah, when there is no conflict, when everything must go smoothly, no conflicts, no kind of discussions could happen probably only about things like what pizza should be ordered and will 5 pizzas be enough. This is probably the only discussion we're happy to have. This is also wrong. People have to know they can safely disagree. Mediocrities. Well, people are afraid to lose their job. People see that whatever they do, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't mean anything, actually. People still need to earn for their bread and butter. They don't have energy even to talk about the problems anymore. What do? They fall to a hibernated state when they pretend they do not care anymore. They are just doing their job. This is probably one of the worst things that we can hear from people we are leading. That they are just doing their job. Because it means one thing to us. We as leaders do not do well our job. Because if we fail on connecting specific individual interests and values to team or business interest and values and plans, then we are not leading, we are managing. There is a thing that is called psychosocial safety climate. And this is kind of a perception of the environment, how people do perceive the environment. When people feel that we are in a safe environment, it means a lot. Because safety is among of the lowest level of Maslow's pyramid. So if we feel unsafe in the environment, if we still feel unsafe to disagree, we're in trouble. Our team is in trouble. And it is important to send right signals. Nobody is able to go and talk through all the things with everyone. But the signals that are sent are important. It could be an all-hand meeting where you as a leader or I as a leader disagree with C-level. If this is what I mean. It's not a conflict, but it is something that it's part of my job as well. To be vocal about the things that I do not agree on. And this is not just me doing my job. It's me sending signal, hey guys, I did that, and you see, next day I'm still here, I'm still working, nobody fired me. Just because I said that, well, this is actually not the best idea, we should approach it differently. This needs some courage, but yeah, this is something that this type of signal should be sent. There was a study in UK that shows that our manager has a very, very, very significant influence on us. Your boss influences you as much actually as your family. And we as leaders, if we're leaders to someone else, we're influencing those people. Many people are adapting to this world differently, especially in IT. Probably successful people in IT often have some, are neurodivergent people, quite often. So hypersensitivity is also a thing. So your mood is read, and my mood is read by the team. And specific team members can adapt. And it's important to send the right signal. And the right signal is stability, neutrality and stability. Why? Because it matters to people. Okay, how we can fix that? First thing, collaborate. Talk to your people. What pain do they have? Not report, not how was that task we've been talking about a month ago. How I can make your work better. How I can help you deliver this thing. This is the first move. Then you will see the pain points of your team members. Customize. We may read books, we may attend conferences, probably we can even have a degree, get a degree in psychology, but nobody will tell what is the right way. Speak with people, they will tell you what's missing. You will see what's not working. Make it a system driven from bottom to the top. It doesn't make sense to announce and create motivational frameworks if people do not care about them. If you talk and ask questions and people are not even saying no when they mean so, that's a bad signal. Commit. Make it a system again. Make sure people that you are talking to, they feel, they know that they matters, they can impact. The art of subtraction, something that I briefly touched. When we put something new on the team, or we give some extra effort, we ask for some extra effort from the high performer, we have to give them space to deliver. How? Here are just a few ideas. Eliminate status meeting that could be async. Use chat. Use Jira if you're using it. Comment section. It's great for async. Just tag a person. There is one thing that I observed through many years. Usually, people who says that async syncs do not work are people who are constantly in a hurry. Managers, leaders, and bosses. Do you know what's the reason they are in a hurry? Any ideas?
Out of sync.
Out of sync. Yeah, out of sync with themselves. They have no system, they have no reliable way to, they have no plan. So today something came, it worked as a trigger, so they have to trigger the team. And they need a sync meeting to understand, oh, what's actually going on there. It's not a process. It's reaction, 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 reaction. This is actually the fastest way to burn out the team. Just react, react, react to your customers, to alerts, to everything else. Don't build system around that, just react. Don't act. Don't try to build systems. Don't try to normalize the pipeline. Don't try to introduce a process. Just react. Oh, client said we have to change our logo. Okay, let's do that. Okay. Oh, actually, tomorrow, the next day, oh, actually, there are other clients who are not happy about that. So let's remove the logo completely. Well, that's the way to kill productivity. Yeah, reports. Well, it's more probably for some enterprise environment, but yeah, there was something that doesn't matter. Meeting attendance. Well, yeah, having 15 people in a room or virtual room in a meeting with 3 people speaking and discussing between themselves. Well, probably you have done it the wrong way. Automate. This is something what DevOps and software engineers should love, and this is the way we can actually improve things. Suggest and be serious about automating things. Your deployments, automate them. Your routines, automate them. Especially now, where we have entered the era of agents. Ask for a budget for some guidelines how to use AI, automate your things. And when you are meeting people, it's important to speak to them in a specific way. Again, there is no one size fits all, but there are just some directions coming from the experience. So, what did went well? What this question is about? This question is about what is important for you. What important have you done in the recent past? The pain? What's frustrating you? What is the problem you cannot solve? That's actually the question. Passion? What would you like to do? What matters to you again, but you had no chance to do that yet? Potential. Where do you want to be? This is a hard question. This is a really hard question, but still people may have a feeling where they want to be, or at least they may have a feeling what they don't want to be. And this is the way you can iterate on that. Why this matters? Because, as I said, you have to match as a leadership. You have to, in a leadership position, you have to match specific individuals' interests to company interests. And this is the earning money is not the only interest they have. It's common. Yeah, this again, some statistics. Burnout employees are 63% more likely to take sick days. Well, not sure about 63s, but if people are energized and it matters for us what we do, we show up. We show up and we perform, even we might feel a bit under the weather today. If people don't feel attached and they avoid attachment, emotional attachment of any kind, they will take sick leaves. Yeah, like to seek another job and supportive managers. Well, yeah, support your people, help them to deal with the hard stuff. When the bug is fixed, performance is not manufactured. It's not in the reports. It's not because we have changed the approach. It's not because we switched the framework. It's not because we split the tasks. It happens because team comes with ideas, because each team member is acting actually as individual and is coming with ideas, with suggestions, being professional. And being professional, sometimes it means one thing. Come and say openly, you know what, probably I'm not the best for this. Or you know what, I can do that, but I will need extra time. This is professional. Not just, okay, I will do that, and then we're still 2 weeks late with the feature, and there is entire huge pressure on that person. You have to stop preventing it. Sounds a bit cryptic, but it means actually one thing. Don't push too much on people. Don't make people feel overwhelmed. Don't make people feel alone with the problem. Don't make people feel problem solvers. We are people, all of us. We can solve problems, and we can solve problems together. This is what matters. And splitting people, splitting teams, putting extra load on them is actually preventing it. Chaos is preventing the performance. If you want to take away and some actionable items, as we should do, right? Take a look on your system. If your team members have not updated the Jira statuses, think about the system. Why? I will give you a clue. Most probably because they think it does not matter. How I show this to my team, I told it a few times, and then I executed accordingly. I told one thing, guys, do you like having your time for coding, like focus time? Yes, we do. Then I said, okay, in order for you to be able to do that, I need to be able to know what are you working on and what is happening in those specific tasks. So I need Jira to be up to date. without me pinging you, without me asking you, without me making meetings and all that stuff. I did this a couple of times, and then, when it failed again, I became a bit mean, and I just started literally calling people and pinging people. Hey, I need an update for this. Hey, what's happening there? Hey, how about this? Hey, have you touched that? Actually, after that, it gets much better. And Jira became much better. This is working, so this is not just about explaining endlessly. Show them. Show them that what they do, what you are asking them to do matters, because sometimes people may not understand that. Ask where are the bugs, what's the mismatch? What's disturbing you? What is your problem? What are you unhappy about? Don't ask about names. Sometimes these might be names, and sometimes team members might be right about those names. Sometimes there is a mismatch, sometimes. But more probably, this is a process again. Because if you have process in place, you know the names. And nobody else has to bring them to these meetings. Team don't have to tell you that, oh, Peter actually is not performing. The code reviews are bad, and the features are delayed, and everything is bad about it. If you have a system, a full system that delivers feedback, you know that Peter is a problem. What's one thing you could subtract? Do you need all the meetings? Do you need all the status updates? Do you need all the rituals? This is the question that should be asked to the team. Okay, thank you very much.
Sorry guys, at 10 o'clock will come the janitor, and she will hit me with this wet schlabber. So the lack of time, we will have a short break now, like 7 minutes. You can come ask questions in person to Ilja in those 7 minutes, and then we start next one, because Dima said that he has been preparing like for months. He has talked like 3 hours, so it's not like that a joke about 3 hours. So thank you, Ilja.